welcome to another episode of Getting There and Giving Back, the show where we talk to high achievers about where they are, how they got there, and the things they're doing to give back. Today, we're talking to the founder and CEO of Ascend Advisors, which is a management and consulting training company for small business owners and sales leaders. They're dedicated to empowering CEOs and their teams with a focus on leadership, marketing, sales, and operational excellence. James Jacobi, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, AJ. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with where you are. What inspired you to create Ascend Advisors, and what need did you set out to fill or help?
So it's going to be a great story to tell even further down the road, but we really were a pivot of the 2020 conundrum in the marketplace.
Wow.
And so I've had my consulting company now for about 3.5 years. I had a really great career in big corporate, in the staffing industry and the healthcare industry. And, but anyways, come 2020, when everything happened, we kind of looked back and said, is there a different place we should be right now in the market? Is there a better way we can serve? Is there a better way to use what we're doing in a more meaningful way? And so it was a great opportunity to say, I know some great experts in digital marketing. I know some great experts in sales and leadership. And we came together and said, let's bring the A team to companies and help them from end to end with all their sales and marketing needs to help them really get to the next level in the fastest way possible. So that we have formed Ascend Advisors. So
it sounds like is it a situation where big established companies have big budgets to bring big teams in to help with these kind of things, and you're helping maybe some of the other companies that may not? Is that kind of the niche?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, everyone has different needs, obviously, right, in their business. And some definitely have more time, energy, and budget to do that now versus later. But we work with small companies too, that are beyond early stage, but they're scaling. They got 15 to 20 staff, and they're in the below 7-figure range. Then they're growing. They need systems though. They need better strategies. They need better marketing, better websites, better sales, all that stuff. And our approach was, COVID was very disruptive to the family, to the home, to the businesses, to the community, all that, right? And it's a lot of pressure on the CEO to think about a million different things, which they were and still are, on how to take this thing forward. We wanted to come in as a concierge kind of approach and say, listen, we don't want to add anything to your plate. You have enough. We actually want to take stuff off your plate for you. We're going to help do some things for you that's going to, if you were to do this on your own, it would have taken you probably 12 to 24 months to do this kind of stuff, because it's pretty intense. When you want to do a transformation on parts of your business, it takes a lot of energy, time, and usually money. And so we wanted to find a way where we could make a quick 90-day impact to a business, and they could see the results and just take the company from there. So we wanted to make things really quick, measurable, in a high quality way.
Yeah, time was of the essence, and pretty much, I guess every company we've used the word pivot so much, but had to make almost everyone needed a different or better online play. Almost everyone needed to change the way they did whatever they did as far as where their staff was and then how that affected things. So you guys were able to come in and streamline all of that for them.
Yeah, the core areas that we always look at is your website. What does it look like? Does it really paint the picture can I know in 10 seconds who you serve, the pains you solve, challenges you solve, and the cool solutions you bring? Can I see that in about 10 seconds? Because if you can't, I'm out.
Right.
That's your buyer. So if it's not there, we got to fix it. A lot of websites aren't built for conversion or education. They're just kind of static. So we connect that to everyone uses social media now. So we look at your social media. How's your content? Does your content educate me? Can I tell, same thing. Can I tell, do you serve me or not? Can you tell what I struggle with and what I need? Are you addressing the market or not? And a lot of times they're not, and they don't have the right marketing strategy or content focus that they need. And when you think about it, when we talk to businesses, we ask them, well, what would you like more of now? What would be helpful for your business today? And everyone usually says leads, right? I want more leads. Okay. Right. Well, yeah, I think we'd all like more leads, but is that the real problem? And more times than not, it's actually not the problem. It's actually your messaging, your positioning, your branding, your marketing that's not clear, that's causing the lead issue. No one knows who you are, so they're not going to come to you, you know? So there's a lot of more work usually on that front. And then with the sales folks, if you're selling, it's really the same thing too. People have really struggled to transition digitally, especially if they're in more of a traditional B2B. Hey, I usually go see appointments type stuff. I usually go out and have coffee with people. I go to their boardroom, I go to their office. But we didn't really get to do that last year. Still in a lot of cases don't do that.
Right.
So you've had to change how you sell and meet people online. And so we do a lot of sales, what we call sales enablement, and we help people with their talk paths, their messaging, how to build quick rapport on video, on your social media, to get that same kind of starting conversation, but then streamline it and build it into your sales process. So those are all really vital things that people need right now to be competitive online. And we show them, like, guys, one, it's never going to go back. We're never going to go back to the way it used to be. This is forever.
Right.
Even when we open up, people are still going to do lots of business this way because they found it to be more convenient. They like it. It's cost effective for the company. All sorts of reasons why. So when you look at your competition online, and we do some really cool analytics and SEO report data polls on your competition to say, hey, look at your competition. Some of them aren't doing very well either, but there's some that you weren't even aware of that are crushing it online with their brand, their SEO, their marketing, their frictionless ease of communicating with their potential customers. It's really like chatbots or like immediate customer service, or there's all sorts of built-in tech features that they're leveraging to speed up business transactions. And we show them this because we're like, guys, this is the future of your business. This is where you have to play and compete, because if you don't, these are the people that are going to take your business. And it's right in front of you. So there's been this huge shift for everybody in every industry category that's had to deal with digital disruption and transformation. And the faster you can adapt to moving your business to online, even if you're brick and mortar, even more so, the better you're going to do in the next 12 to 24 months.
We've talked about leads and sales and the change in how it's going to be done going forward. If I'm a salesperson, what's different between talking to you right here and talking to you face to face in the conference room of building?
Well, that's just it, right? It's not a lot different.
Yeah.
We can have a meaningful conversation right here, and I don't got to drive an hour or 2 hours to go meet you.
Right.
We can have more appointments for year end if we meet like this than having to come meet me somewhere. So there is still value in that person-to-person, face-to-face interaction. I don't have to explain it, but it when if
Sure.
It's been a while, you do it again. It's like, oh man, I forgot how refreshing this was. It's nice. It's nice. But I think there's going to be this new rhythm, cadence to, well, maybe we only do that once a quarter now. Maybe it wasn't every month or week anymore, Right. And we do this in the interim. So it's a new balance.
So you say when you talk to a new company, one of the main things they ask for is more leads. What is one of the more common holes in the boat you find with new companies? Where's one of the first places you check?
So we already talked about website. We already talked about social media, messaging, marketing, branding stuff. I mean, those are easy places to look to see if they have a good command on their own brand. And this stat will blow your mind. And we do a lot of this on our podcast and shows. We give some good data. 68% of B2B businesses don't know their own funnel. They don't know their own marketing and sales funnels. They're not clear, essentially, on what they do. 68%. So this is a very common problem, is what that means, right? Mm-hmm. It's a very common problem. And so if that's good, though, and there's some that have that down pretty good, the other place where people are missing the boat is execution and following through. And when we look under the hood of the car, the sales operations, sometimes there's not even one there. If the whole engine's missing, right. Oh, we got to put this into the business.
Yeah.
Or it gets stuck in first gear. Like they may call once or twice and then they just drop. There's no follow through or prospecting system that really nurtures leads. And that's the other big statistic is most companies fail to have a nurturing system with their leads, and they lose a lot of business. So people always think, oh, I need more leads, But yeah, but are you nurturing the ones that you're getting? Because if you're not even following up with them, you're missing sales right there. So, and we do a lot of work with companies on LinkedIn. We do a lot of, we have an AI prospecting and coaching lead nurturing system program that we take sales forces through. Wow. And it's amazing. Like the output and the stats are mind blowing. We just did a new infographic just this week that we're going to put out in April. But on average, everyone that's used our system, on average, the data, people are getting 1,000 new views to their profile in the first 90 days. Wow. They're getting 1,300 on average, 1,300 new first connections with their ideal clients that they would want to meet and sell to and talk with. And that translates and trickles down into sales meetings and more clients. And the data on it, it's a beast. But what we found is that you need to couple that powerful technology with a nurturing system. You can't just message people on social media and hope it works. Sometimes it will. You can get business through direct messaging and social media for sure. Yeah. But you have to combo that with the other methods of picking up the phone, making some phone calls, sending some emails, inviting them to some networking events online, having different touch points to really nurture in different dynamics that prospect, because not everyone likes to be communicated the same way. Right. Some people love to talk on the phone. Some people don't. Some people like text me, man, or DM me or something else. But you have to kind of learn per prospect what they like. And then if you're selling to bigger companies, the old school stuff still applies where maybe that's not the decision maker. You still have to do investigative prospecting in your sales process to figure out who are all the players that I need to be talking to for this company. So some of that old school stuff still hasn't changed, but the speed and the approach has for B2B digital business today. So
what's your personal strategy for dealing with the juggling act you just described, where it's not a matter of, I'm just going to check my email and that will be where my correspondence is. Now you've got a DM on Instagram and 2 things on Twitter and a thing on LinkedIn. Do you have a best practices for keeping track of who's reaching out where?
Yes. So every company has their own way of doing things.
Sure.
No surprise there, right? But there has to be this understanding and kind of forward-looking strategy on saying, okay, we got to understand the power of online. We have to understand the power of social media, and we have to also leverage a CRM. We have to have a CRM and track data. Data is everything. It tells us so much. But if we don't have a infrastructure or a strategy to understand what that data is and have it be meaningful, then it's pointless. Like, for example, I just got off the phone today with a client and we talked about content strategy, where our argument is at Ascend is to say, you don't need to make content every single day forever. That's exhausting.
Right.
And a lot of people, it'll take them hours to post out a good post, and maybe no one even clicks on it. It's like you just wasted 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's a lot of valuable time as the business owner, or it doesn't matter who you are, sales, marketing, it's a lot of time. And so going back to what I said before, our argument is get 20 to 30 pieces max of content. This is kind of the Gary Vee strategy. If you ever looked at his playbook,
absolutely. Yeah.
It's freaking gold. If you've never seen that, if you're watching this, it's free. He literally advertises it. He's like, guys, I'm not trying to sell you. Like, literally, this took me 10 years to build. Here's the PDF. It's like 100 and some pages, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
But he's got great points. It's to say, listen, take your best content and turn it into pieces of content. And our point to business owners is to say, in 20 to 30 pieces, whether they're short 1 to 2 minute video clips, or they're short form copy posts with some pictures, or long form, or even some really high touch, high impact graphics with a quick stat or something. You want to educate your audience on what do they need to know about their own problems and issues in the industry. What are some trends? What are some factoids? What are some outcomes they can achieve that you can help them with? And really just be the person that is front and center every day saying, I know who you are. I know what problems you have. I know what challenges you're struggling with. I know what you're thinking about. I know what questions you have. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to give you everything you need to know about this topic. And I want you, when you're ready, to come to me because I know my stuff and I can help you the best. And I'm going to be the one that shows up because I'm the most consistent, giving you the best value. And so in 20 to 30 pieces of content, you can auto program that, schedule it, and have it written on repeat every month. And our argument is build that, test it for 3 months. So literally repost that same piece of content for 3 months in a row. And if you have 30 pieces, you got 3 months to repeat. Now you can sit back and measure it. Because now you can say, all right, we've done the research. We usually tell people to go Google your content, your topics that you talk about for your business. Go Google it. See what comes on the first page of Google. That says a lot right there.
Yeah.
Google's telling you this is the content that we like, that is getting the most clicks, the most interest. This is what people are looking for. So if your content doesn't align with that first page, you're missing the boat. So we do a lot of fact checking or validation from, is our content talking about that stuff? Because if it's not, then we're not going to get as many views. And we want max views. We want max reach, saturation. So check that stuff. Make sure you have good SEO rank content. Do a top 10 questions on blank for your industry or your business or your thing you help clients with. They're all out there, and just make your content about answering those unasked or unspoken questions that they're thinking up here. They're just never going to ask you up front. And that will just position you as the natural expert for them in that particular field. And if you do that, you're already in the 1% category of marketers, because most people won't even do that. They don't have that kind of strategy around their content that aligns with their brand, their value proposition, and their message. And from there, you can test and measure and say, all right, how many comments are we getting? Are we getting shares? Are we getting engagement from this kind of content? And now we can measure the content meaningfully because we've already done the research and we know this theoretically is the best stuff we could give our market. So now let's go test and see what they say. And now you can say, all right, we've done 90 days of our 20 pillar pieces of content. Here's the top 5 of engagement and likes and shares, or not even likes. I don't even count likes, comments and shares, engagement. Here's some new leads that have come through that. So the next thing you look for is, all right, is my ideal prospects commenting on my stuff? And once you start to notice that those people are coming on the radar, like, okay, these are the kinds of people we want engaging with our content. Now you're starting to know that you're building a mousetrap that makes sense. It's literally perfect message to market match with your ideal audience and your content. Now we're getting somewhere. And now you're being strategic. You're being a good marketer. You're relevant with the marketplace, with who you want to talk to. Now you know you have good marketing. And now you know you have good leads because of the right people that you want to attract. And so that is really the bridge to then your salespeople. And so it's that exchange or transition then to get those fresh leads, those new people that are popping up into the hands of your salespeople to nurture them from there. But that whole front end, most people don't do that homework, man. And it sounds so simple and logical, and it in some ways it is. It's one of those things where you have to slow down to speed up. And most people don't want to slow down. So,
well, yeah. And I feel like it's the opposite of what a lot of people do, which is chase the latest thing that's working on platform, right? Oh, yeah. The videos are big on Facebook this month, so I'm going to do a bunch of videos, or, everyone's getting on TikTok and this is what's working on TikTok. That's you'll drive yourself crazy doing that. This is know your niche, do this strategy, and none of that other stuff will matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's evergreen.
Just block it out. It literally doesn't matter. Like, why give energy there? Your audience is right there. They're telling you what they want to hear. You're just going to give it to them, and you're going to show up every day, which most people don't do.
Yeah.
So you're consistent. You have relevant content. Another good stat that which is crazy, but it makes sense, is once your followers start checking you out and you start being inconsistent and start giving content that is not on brand, that's not relevant, they check out. Half your followers will leave.
Wow.
So think about that. Like, why would you waste, like, you've put all this energy out there. Why would you mess it up or waste it?
Yeah.
So just stay on brand, on message, and commit. This is and this is where it's intentional. It's strategic. It's smart. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
For business.
Yeah.
To do it that way, and it takes discipline. But if you talk to the best of the best and you look at what they're doing, it's so obvious. Like, you can tell. Like, if you look at it, find the people in your industry category that are doing social media marketing and content marketing and website really, really well.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference. It's very obvious. There's a strategy behind it, without even seeing the data. I mean, I'm sure their data is really impressive, but you can tell from a visual how consistent and how on point with their messaging they are. So that's key.
Well, that I got to say, man, part of the show is about giving back, and you just gave away a social media playbook that you probably could have made a Kajabi course on and sold it for.
Totally could have. Yeah, totally. So there you go. Free value.
Yeah, free value. Thanks on behalf of everyone who's watching this one today. But you do, I do want to touch on giving back. You do a lot of that in your personal life when you're not on the clock, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm on the board for 2 nonprofits. I'm a local leader in the community. And also, I'm a co-founder with my wife. She runs it, but she started a nonprofit school. So we're in our year 3 of the school. It's ages K through 8 grade level, and we have 70 kids in it right now. And we're serving a bunch of families that are super happy with an alternative education model, and it's done really well, especially with COVID. So,
what was the inspiration for doing that?
She's always been passionate about, having innovation inside education, just different ways, better ways to do school. And she found a brand out there in the market that's doing really well. And she called them up and said, I want to be a part of this. And so we launched our own version of that here in New Jersey 3 years ago.
Very cool stuff, man. Well, last 3 things we ask every guest. What is the best advice you were ever given? Ooh,
that's a good one. This is fresh off my best man speech that I gave my brother.
Oh, nice.
So super relevant, fresh. My grandfather was a very famous dentist growing up in the 70s and 80s. Wrote 2 books, was a speaker around the world. One of the things he always told us growing up was, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. So surround yourself with people that are going to level you up, push you, challenge you, align with your goals and your mission for your life, and keep that circle small. And if they're taking you off path, find some new friends, because you don't have much time in this life. It's short. Be around the people that you need to be around. And don't feel bad about that. It's your family is important, most important, and you and your close friends. So
very good. What's your favorite book ever?
Favorite book ever. Besides the Bible, which I love. It's a great book. There's a lot. This is my bookshelf in my house. I got one at work too, but I got a lot of books. There's some good ones though recently that I've read over and over again. For whatever reason, Relentless, Tim Grover, solid book on high. It really fits for the podcast and the show here. High Achievers. He was a personal trainer for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. If you don't know the book title, he was a personal trainer for them. Wow. And he talks about what it's like up here mentally to be that good. And it's not, when you read it and you learn about it, you're like, well, it actually makes a lot of sense. It kind of ties in what I said earlier in that strategy, in that marketing strategy. It's discipline, man. It's hard work consistently and discipline. And those guys worked harder than anybody. And that's how they got better, is they just pushed themselves to outwork everybody, and they got better. Wow. So, I mean, that's not the most sexy answer, but there's truth in it.
That's the question everyone struggles most with on this whole podcast, because it is tough. That sounds like a great one, though. And finally, do you have a ritual or a habit that makes your life better?
Coffee in the morning, tea at night.
I love it. See, that one was a slam dunk. That one was easy. All right. Well, you gave a lot of great, useful information, and we really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks so much, AJ. Appreciate it.